If you know your enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself, but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb to every battle. Friends and grasshoppers, this is the Formless Podcast, number 112. Control. This goes out to my Monday night Blue Belt class. They're a group of kids ranging from about 8 to 12 years old. And they're a spunky bunch, full of energy and vigor. And I love each and every one of them. They're great kids. They're full of life and remind me of myself in many ways. So this is for them and the rest of you listening. But they were my focus this week. We talk about control a lot lately because it's important. We use that word often. We as martial artists need to control 3 things. In my opinion, again, this is my view of things. Our center line, keeping your hands up, covering your face and body, maintaining that control over the center line helps protect you. We want to control the critical distance line, or the CDL. If we can do that, we can have control over the timing, the pace, and the tempo of the action. But this control, in my opinion, is very fluid. And generally, this control is not constant or very long. It can be, but not always. The only control you have, total control over, is yourself. You have control over your actions, your reactions, your feelings, or your emotions. Some of these things, for some of us, are very easy. And some of these are hard. This is the same for everyone. Just like anything else, there will always be things that come easy to some and hard to others. But just because some of these things are hard doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means you're going to have to work. And that, my friends, is something to think about. Everyone has to work at something. But of these 3 things, the one you will have the greatest success and push you further in life, or furthest in life, I believe is the control you have over yourself. That is the basis of this whole thing. That's the truth. Because if you don't control yourself, the center line and the critical distance line, if you don't control yourself, the center line, the critical distance line won't matter. You'll hand that over without even realizing it. I asked my good friend and the owner of the school I train and teach at, Blaine Court, for his definition of controlling in terms of our style of martial arts, Wu Ying Dao. And he said, controlling means exerting a dominating influence over the activities and actions at or near the critical distance line, while denying your opponent the same. This often increases your opponent's frustration while giving you a greater ease of the action. We talk in general, as a group, as a collective, as a country, as people, we talk a lot about control in life, in politics, in some religions, in martial arts. The fact of the matter is, We have very, very little control over anything. Anytime you think you have your stuff under control, I would like you to try and make it rain right now. Go ahead. I'll wait. Just how much can you really control? That pause right there, the silence when nothing happens, that's the lesson. You don't control nearly as much as you think you do. In terms of combat, I would argue not for very long. Most of the time, life is simple, not easy. This concept we're talking about right now is simple, not easy. Martial arts, pretty simple to explain. We're going to either punch you or kick you or choke you or try and break your arm or leg. Trying to do that is hard. Talking about it, we can do it all day. Simple, not easy. In the Wu Ying Dao concept of controlling, it's super easy. It's easy to understand, but to put it into practice, well, did you make it rain yet? At this point, in order to explain control, you have to understand some of the other Wu Ying Dao concepts. I recorded a little bit about the zone of action, your personal space, as I like to call it, your bubble. I'd recommend, for a little bit more in-depth, listening to number 108, I believe. It's titled Action, and it's all about the action zone. You think about the CDL as the barrier of entry into the zone of action, into that space. And you must be the gatekeeper of that space. To control the zone of action, of the entry of the zone of action, is critical. Think of it this way. Action is your house, and control is locked at the front door. Without control, anyone walks in. With control, you decide who gets in, when they get in, and how they get in. That's the difference between living in chaos and living with intent. All of this cannot be done, can't even be put into practice without control over yourself. There are times when you can have fun and play and run and jump and do all the cool things. And then there are times when it is critically important to listen, to follow directions, to stand still. All of that begins with control over yourself and your actions. Friends, this is going to be a short one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it inspiring, and I hope you found it educational. That Monday night Blue Belt class is some of the hardest classes I have to teach, and it shouldn't be. It's all written out for me on a little card telling me what to teach, what to do, what to give. My Saturday class is wide open. It's all up to me. How it goes, how it's ran, your participation in that class, your control over yourself will determine the outcome, what you get out of it. How much we get to do in that class depends on how far we get through the lesson. I have great kids in my class. I've got great adults in my class. All of my classes. That Blue Belt class is the challenge. It's a group of kids that have been there for a while. They kind of know the routine. They're comfortable with me. They're comfortable with their environment. And part of this, most of this is my fault. Because I'm a silly guy and I like to have fun and play around. But we got to get to work. There's so much more to learn. There's so much more to do. If you like this, if it struck a chord with you, if something was important to you, if you have questions, please reach out. Have your parents message me on Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube. All of those, we have accounts set up under The Formless Pod. We have an email address called The Formless Pod, or we have an email address at theformlesspod@gmail.com. We also have a website where you can see our merch and photos of my ugly mug and Tyler's mug at theformlesspod.com. Friends, students, soon-to-be friends, soon-to-be students, I hope you all have a wonderful evening, day, night, wherever you're at. I hope the grass is green and the skies are blue. Have a wonderful evening.